tonight. For the 4th straight year, a sellout crowd of 70,000 plus fans will pack the Kentucky Speedway for NASCAR Busch Series racing. Tonight's front row, our top 2 drivers in the championship standings. Martin Truex Jr. shattered the track record by nearly 4 miles per hour. And let's go trackside for some last-minute stories from Pit Road and Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Matt. We talked about the momentum that Jason Leffler's team has. There's one team that doesn't have it right now, desperately wants it. That's the 23 car of Kenny Wallace. Last week in Nashville, took the lead later on in the race. Looks like he had a car capable of winning, surely a top 5 finish. A miscue in the pits cost him that, got him even out of the top 10. This week at Kentucky, they were fast in practice. They qualified. He started 6th. They qualified really well. Last night in happy hour, he was one of the top 5 or 6 fastest cars again. Kenny told me before the race, his car is really good. He feels like they can be competitive. They just don't want to make any of those mistakes you guys were talking about a while ago. Here's Mark Garrow.
Well, Glenn, I snagged Lance McGrew, Kyle Busch's crew chief, as he walked down pit road. You hung out late down there with your driver. He's starting in the back of the pack. What do you tell a rookie to do when you're back there like that after what happened last night?
As fast as the car was yesterday, we didn't get lap 1 on this car, so I just basically said, look, it's a long race. It's 200 laps here. This is a big, wide racetrack. You can pass a lot of cars a lap here. I said, we don't need to be running 15 by lap 10. So be a little patient, be a little calm, make some smart decisions, and let's turn a positive out of a negative here.
And you did that at California, right?
Yep, exactly same car. This car has a little story with. This is the infamous Black Flag at Texas car that Brian Vickers got last year, so this car has a little bit of history. Just a quick second, I'd sure love to tell my dad Happy Father's Day.
I'd like to do that too. Happy Father's Day back there in Rutland, Vermont. Matt?
And Kyle Busch in the 5 car, one of 8 different drivers who will have to drop to the back of the field. Michael Waltrip and Casey Kane, we told you earlier, due to a driver change because they had drivers qualify their race car for tonight. Tim Fedewa and Mike Bliss due to an engine change. And also, let's take a look at the weather for tonight. What a great night of racing. The ambient temperature about 74 degrees, humidity 40%, partly cloudy skies, and nice breezy winds.
You know, I just want to comment on the guys that have to go to the back of the pack. This is a long race, keep in mind. This is a 1.5 mile track. It's a 300-mile race, so there's absolutely no reason why if you have a good race car and you go to the back of the pack, you can't make that difference up and get to the front.
I know as a driver, you sit there, you say, okay, guys, I'm going to pass as many as I can on the track. When I hit pit road, it's a whole lot easier to pass cars on pit road.
Yeah, you guys do your job when I get to pit road.
Exactly.
Tonight it's 200 laps of racing for 300 miles. Pit road speed tonight 45 miles per hour. Our pit window 60 to 70 laps. And the last lap that the red flag can be displayed, lap 196. Pace car's off. Martin brings him down slowly. And the green flag is in the air. We are racing here at Kentucky. A bad start.
Yeah, the
double O of Jason Leffler.
Jason Leffler looks like he hesitated there, missed a gear, but he's got it going now. Everything's all right.
As Martin Truex leads the field into turn 3 and 4. Bobby Jr. wasting no time, dives to the inside, battling for the lead down the backstretch.
You know, you'd think this is a white flag lap, the way Bobby Jr. got underneath him coming out of turn 2 right there. Got him a little bit loose and made the pass.
You should see the back of the pack, boys. You think it's the last lap?
Martin tries to back on the inside to retake that lead. It's going to be close to the line. Who will lead the first lap?
Give it to the 8.
You know, this is a 1.5 mile racetrack like we said, so there's just a little bit of drafting that goes on here. When you get right behind somebody, you can get a good shot on them to get a pass down the straightaway.
11th race this season that Martin Truex has led in the NASCAR Busch Series is the 25. Dives on the inside, and there's trouble on the backstretch. The 50 car, Regan Smith.
Smiling Bob. He's not smiling now.
No, he's not smiling.
No caution yet as the 50. Smith trying to get that car underway. Early laps here at the Kentucky Speedway. Is Kyle Busch, man on a mission, tries the outside. He told me, because my goal is not to be in the top 10 by lap 20. A little loose there.
Yeah,
Andy.
but you know, his goal certainly isn't to wreck either. And you don't need to be up there in the 3rd groove in turns 1 and 2 and making it 3 wide this early in the race.
You look, he's following Mike Bliss. So Mike's making the holes, and he's right behind him, and Michael's 1 car back.
The 5, Kyle Busch, running in the 27th position. Just joining us, he wrecked his primary car. They qualified on the outside of the front row, third quick in the final practice, but wrecked that car in happy hour. Had to go to a backup, which means he had to start at the back of the field for tonight's race. Two wins this season. A great month of May. Struggled a little bit in the month of June, though.
Casey Atwood's really moving with the Navy car. He's got that thing running. He's the biggest mover so far.
Labonte in the Coast Guard car on the outside. Now let's go back and take a look at Regan Smith's spin.
You see he's on the inside there as they came out of turn number 2. Just got the air taken off him a little bit. Lost the downforce of the car, turning on the steering wheel, and then around he went.
You had 2 cars on the outside of him. He had to hold it down. He was in the gas. There it is. He didn't hit nothing.
There's a lot of extra pavement on the back, and the track owners paved that area on purpose to slow the cars down when they do spin out right there.
Last week's winner, Jason Leffler, in the 00, battling the 60 car Greg Biffle. Biffle will chop her out tonight and catch his plane back to Michigan for the Nextel Cup Series race tomorrow at the Michigan International Speedway. This is the battle for third.
They say the 60 car is very good on long runs. We'll see what happens here in about 40 laps.
Biffle told me today he was very pleased with how that race car performed in the final practice session, especially on long runs.
You see him taking a little different line already this early in the race. Jason's car is running just a little bit higher, about half a car length up. Biffle's right on the bottom of the racetrack. That's usually a sign that maybe Leffler's car is just a little looser than Biffle's at this time.
Booty Barker, Leffler's crew chief, told me today, he said, you know, our car is a top 5 car, but we've got to make some changes to make that a winning car for the second straight week. On board, Michael Waltrip, he's battling the shrub, Kyle Busch. Busch wasting little time going to the outside of Michael Waltrip, taking that position.
They've been going back and forth. Michael passed him, and then the 5 car back passed Michael back.
For 26th.
And remember, they started last, so he's up to 26th and 27th already. 8 laps. You really need to have a lot of patience at this stage of the race. There's no reason to get real excited. If your car's tight, it's going to be that way. If it's loose, you just got to settle in and find your rhythm.
Lap 9 of 200, 300 miles of racing tonight on FX. Kentucky Speedway, and the 87 car Blake Feast, 22 years old. Another young man, part of that Hendrick developmental program on board the Joe Nemechek Nemco 87.
Robert Presley passing him. He's going to have to take and trying to get his season up and running a little bit better. And here comes the 5 car.
Second in points, Kyle Busch. Chad, he is really hanging it out.
You know, you see him continuing to move forward there as he passes the 25th car of Mike Wallace right
Trouble.
there. Oh, we see a spin right in front of him.
There's a car in the fence.
We talked about Blake. He backed into the wall. You see the flames erupting. That's from the fuel cell. The gas getting spilled right there.
10 laps in, full load of fuel on that 87 car. Blake Feast, 22 years old.
What happened to that new fire extinguisher we had in the back of those cars?
Climbing out of that 87 car.
Undoing his Hans.
A lot of things you have to unhook in a quick.
Or you get it done quicker when there's fire. He looks like he's okay.
Another look here on Blake Feast. Heads
there he
off
is right
turn
there.
1.
That's Blake, the 87 car right there, going down in turn number 1. He just got loose all by himself, Randy.
It looked like he's seen a little bit of sparks. I talked to the track owners. Soft walls are coming, but they're not here yet.
You know what might have happened is he bottomed out. That's not uncommon right here. They start with the tires being a little bit lower in air pressure than you would because for a long run, the car's going a little harder. They bottom out. It makes them get loose.
Heavy impact for this 22-year-old driver. Only his 7th ever start on pavement. Cutting his racing teeth on the dirt tracks in USAC in the World of Outlaws. back at Kentucky. Bobby Hamilton Jr. has about a 2-second lead over Greg Biffle, followed by the 8 of Martin Truex, the point leader, and Polson are coming into tonight's race. The 00, Jason Leffler, battling Robbie Gordon, who's gone down the lap, the 55 car. Rounding out your top 5 is Kenny Wallace in the Stacker 2 car.
Now that line right there that you see circled on your television, that's the restart line. That's the line right there. When the leader hits that, you can go. You see Robbie. Now this is a judgment call. You can look at that and say he didn't do anything wrong, but it is a subjective call by NASCAR. That's what I meant. It's a severe penalty. It's a stop and go penalty. He ended up losing a lap by it.
This is probably going to be a phone call come Monday morning, if I had to guess.
Robbie Gordon running back in the 33rd position, 1 lap down.
Looks like Robbie's valence was caved in there a little bit, Randy, in that last shot.
I didn't see, but Kyle Busch is coming, and he's towing along J.J. Yeley with him.
He's working on the 22 car, Jason Keller. That's a battle for 10th. 44 laps in the books, 200 on the card tonight. Racing here in Kentucky.
I bet you when they go at the green flag pit stops, he's going to say, don't touch this car, boys. When this track gets under shade, that thing's going to tighten up. You better look out, Bobby, because this 5 car's coming.
Yeah, and remember, the 5 car started at the back of the pack. They crashed their primary car in a happy hour last night. So he started this race without a lap on this car this weekend, and he is making a pass right there for 10th place. So he is coming hard, and the car must be working pretty well.
There's David Green in the 37 car running in the 7th position. We talked about some problems for David Green possibly a little earlier in the show. Let's check in with Mark Garrett.
Well, you know, Matt, he's been holding on to that 7th spot like a bulldog despite the engine problems, holding back there David Stremme and Ron Hornaday. He said just a little while ago to his crew chief, Jason Radcliffe, it sounds like it's running on 7 cylinders now as it flutters all the way around the racetrack. Remember, at the beginning of the race, it only did it at the end of the straightaways. Now, the engine fluttering all the way around. Now, they have asked him to go to his second ignition box when he gets the chance to see if that will solve it. And Chad and Randy, maybe you can talk about this. This is a problem they've had even with different cars. They've changed carburetors. They've changed the way they put the fuel lines in the car. They've changed the filter. They've changed where they've located the filter. They just cannot seem to solve the problem.
We've seen the shutoff switches go bad. We've had guys that the kill switches go bad. But they have trouble now at the end of the straightaway. When it gets totally dark here, the motor's going to be 200 to 300 more RPMs, 100 RPMs more. If they started at 8,500, they're going to be 8,700.
David Stremme and Ron Hornaday Jr. powering by the 37 of Green on the inside. And back up front, Bobby Hamilton Jr. sees a 60 car of Greg Biffle slowly closing in. Glenn?
Yeah, I've been watching the times in the last few laps. Biffle has consistently been 0.15 to 0.2 of a second quicker per lap. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot to the viewer, but on a racetrack, that is a whale of a lot. Greg is reporting his car is just a little bit loose. So if they ever get this thing snugged up for him so he can really run, the rest of these guys are in trouble. We're starting on to working on lap 50 right now. We're hearing from most of the teams that they should be coming in for green flag stops somewhere around lap 64 to 67, guys.
You know, Glenn, something to keep in mind for all these guys is the sun's just now starting to go down. The track temperature is going to continue to drop. The track's going to get tighter and tighter. So if I was a little bit loose right now, I don't think I'd make an adjustment during the first round of pit stops.
And another good thing, when you're second and you can see the leader, you better look out because you're going to get him.
Bobby Jr. working the outside of lap traffic. On the outside of the 66 car, Billy Parker. And his mirror is completely filled with Greg Biffle. That lead, which was 2 seconds, now down to about 1/10 of a second.
Well, hopefully he learned something in Nazareth and he won't look in that mirror.
Biffle, 3 wins this season. Darlington, Fontana, and Dover. 3 NASCAR starts here in Kentucky. Finished second twice in a Busch car. And he won here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Biffle looks to be a little bit stronger on entry and right through the center, and then Bobby has a great car coming off and down that straightaway.
They're both on the same motor programs, I do believe, the Yates.
The Yates boat, yep.
51 laps completed here at the Kentucky Speedway. As Biffle again working all over. Bobby Hamilton Jr. tries him on the inside. They head off into turn one, and he will take the position. Biffle to the lead.
That right there is what you call a driver giving you another professional courtesy, and he's saying, okay, you've been all over me for a couple laps. You're obviously a little quicker. Go on and take the inside groove. We're going to the corner here.
Guys, that championship coming car is now intact.
Greg Biffle takes over the lead for the first time tonight, followed by Bobby Hamilton Jr., Truex, Leffler, and Kenny Wallace. We'll be back. Jason Leffler will bring the field to green for the restart. Bobby Hamilton Jr., Greg Biffle, and Cornerday, and Kenny Wallace right out your top five. Leffler on the outside is Bobby Hamilton Jr. powers through to retake the lead. Biffle in tow. Talked a lot about mistakes on pit road. Michael Waltrip's team didn't get enough fuel in it to come back on the top off.
David Stremme had a left front wheel loose. Michael's fuel. Those are the mental mistakes that we talked about at the start of the race. You can't be making those.
Top two drivers in points battling. The 8 of Martin Truex, the 5 of Kyle Busch, trying to split the 55 of Robbie Gordon, who's one lap down.
This is awesome right here, guys.
Battle for 6th. To Truex on the outside. Hugging the bottom is the 5 of Kyle Busch. Mark Garrow.
Wait. Kyle Busch came in on that last stop, guys. They lowered the track bar, made a wedge adjustment. The car was a little bit tight. Added a little bit of air in the tires, dropped some fuel in it, and he was ready to go.
Battle for 6th. You see the 23 car of Kenny Wallace, who's running in the 5th position.
We heard a lot of guys making track bar adjustments on that pit stop. What that is it lowers the rear roll center just a little bit, helps the car not roll over so much, and drive off that right rear wheel.
Kenny Wallace battling Hornaday for the 4th position, takes it. Now he's got his sights set on the 00, last week's winner, Jason Leffler. Still battling the 23 and 2.
You'll see some of these cars just skitching the ground. These cars are so aero sensitive. The closer you get up to the ground, the faster you're going to go.
That's why you got to love night racing. You see those sparks flying, and
the sun is set here in Kentucky, completely under the lights. What a beautiful facility. 1.5 miles.
This is one of the most used racetracks in the country. All the Cup teams come here to test. Ford has this racetrack every Tuesday. GM and Dodge share it Wednesday and Thursday. This racetrack is tested on 150 days a year.
And again, that's because it doesn't count against the Cup teams when they come here and test, because it's not on the Cup schedule.
A little over 100 miles of the 300 miles tonight already in the books is Martin Truex, your pole sitter. Scored his 5th pole shatter in the track record by about 3.7 miles per hour.
Oh,
3 wide, coming out of 2.
That's some hard racing right there.
There's some hard heads right there, too.
And there's
we got a big
on
wreck.
the racetrack.
Big wreck down in turns 1 and 2.
Big crash down in turn 1. At least 2 cars involved.
Another fireball.
That's the 1 car, Roy Buckshot Jones, 2nd straight week in that James Finch-owned machine. Also the 36 car involved, Travis Geisler.
Need to get down there with the fire extinguishers, boys.
Fire
Let's
on
go,
that
let's
one
go.
car. Waiting for the safety guys. Think he's out?
Good job.
Helmets
Buckshot.
off.
Good job. Here's a replay of the wreck that just happened.
It's already gone. He's already up against the wall.
The tail end of the wreck right here. Look up high. You see the flame right there on the right-hand side of your screen. There's Buckshot's car.
Heavy fire on that race car. And Randy, as you talked about, at this point in time, now you're trying to get all your safety harnesses off, the belts, the hoses.
You're encapsulated in this thing now. I mean, we found out, the safety industry, that you don't want to move at all in these race cars.
Here's on board Michael Waltrip's car.
right in front of Michael. We have a front view. Fire's terrible. I mean, that is, I think, every race car driver's worst nightmare, is because no matter how calm you want to be, you panic.
Well, Buckshot's out of the race car under caution for the 4th time tonight. Bobby Hamilton Jr. continues to lead here at the Kentucky Speedway. We'll be back. After 100 laps of 200 here at the Kentucky Speedway, 4 different leaders, 4 lead changes, 4 cautions for 26 laps, and your leader at the halfway, Bobby Hamilton Jr. 4 times this year as Jr. continues to lead. If the guys leading at the halfway have gone on to win, he's trying to make it 5, scores first win of the season.
There we see Bobby's car right there. This car is just unbelievable. I'm sitting here, there we see Greg. He's in 2nd place right now. But watching Bobby Hamilton's car is just working perfectly. And they told us this is the same car he won with here last year. I believe I'd be taking this car to every single race the way it's handling tonight.
You ain't kidding. When you get a good pony, you better just keep riding.
Biffle currently runs in the 2nd position, about 1.6 seconds lap of leader Bobby Hamilton Jr. That car looks pretty stout tonight, Glenn.
Yeah, it does. He's running pretty good, but he's still fighting a loose condition. He and crew chief Brad Parrott have already been talking about what they're going to do in the next pit stop to try to tighten that car up. So he's still fighting it a lot looser than he would like to, although he is better than all the cars in the field except Hamilton. Let's go back to 5th place. Martin Truex in the number 8 car, our pole sitter. Martin just came across the radio and says he's got a vibration of some sort. I asked Kevin Mangan if he thought it were in the engine or somewhere in the chassis. He said he thought chassis because the lap times on the car have pretty much stayed the same. So a little bit of a vibration. Martin has backed off. He's just kind of riding along in 5th place now. He'd like to bring it in, get new tires, but obviously he'll wait until the caution to do that. So a little vibration on the 8 car.
Well, Randy, let me ask you something. If you were running in 5th place, do you think you'd be riding around just taking it easy?
Depends on how far 6th was back. But most likely not. When they drop the green flag, man, you go as hard as you can till the checker flag. That's for sure. That's what we're always taught. But when you feel a vibration, you are definitely not going to run that thing on the edge. Whether you just come out of a pit stop 30 laps ago, we don't know. You might have a little tire vibration. I'm starting to hear a lot of guys hitting the chip. I think the racetrack, the air has cooled down. A lot more guys going to be hitting the chip down there.
Ron Hornaday hasn't won in over a year, currently in the 6th position. He's got the 20 car, Mike List, who has been close so many times to scoring that first win. Last year, Gateway ran out of fuel, 2 laps to go.
That is a fabulous race team. You know, Michael McLaughlin drove that car for a couple of years, won a couple of races. And the 20 car, they were so close last year. And I think once they get one, 2nd and 3rd is going to come.
A great run going by Johnny Benson in the 17. Got the call from the Reiser family, one of the big movers tonight. Currently in the 8th position, up 22 spots from where he started tonight. Back in 32nd.
Well, Johnny Benson started out this year running full time in the 1 car that we saw earlier tonight. And then he decided to take a little break, and now he's back this weekend.
I'm not sure if he decided it or not.
Let's go down pit road to Mark Garrow on the 17.
Well, Johnny Benson has already run about 1,500 miles this week. That is on the highways and byways of America. He took his motor coach, drove it out to Nashville for last week's race, then drove it up to his hometown up there in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where he raced earlier this week, and then drove it down here, and then will now drive it upon the completion of this race all the way back to the Charlotte area. So he is a road warrior this week, Johnny Benson.
And Mark, let me tell you a little secret about those motorhomes. Those are the nicest driving vehicles that are on the road.
Benson runs in 8th, former series champion. The 8th, the point leader coming into tonight's race, Martin Truex in the 5th position. Glenn?
Well, we reported on that vibration just after we made that report. Martin called in and told Kevin Mannion, his crew chief, that the vibration was indeed getting worse. So the guys got tires ready. They were going to bring him in. They told Martin to try it a couple more laps and then report back. Kevin has talked to him, calmed him down a little bit in the car now. They have decided to try to wait until the next regularly scheduled pit stop if they can. They are keeping an eye on that vibration. So they're going to try to hold on now and see if they can hold it out.
He's trying to hold on. Came into Kentucky with a 40-point lead over Kyle Busch. Now the Subway points as of now, he stretches that out to a 62-point lead. And Chad, you can see why they're trying to hold out, hoping for a caution.
Yeah, you know, of course, they don't want to come in unless they have to. But as a driver, when you feel a vibration, a lot of things go through your mind. Is it a motor? Is it the drivetrain? Or worst of all, it is the wheel.
Yeah, when you have a loose lug nut, boy, your teeth start to chatter, your fillings start getting loose, and the steering wheel starts chattering. It is not a lot of fun.
Back up front, Bobby Hamilton Jr. continues to lead tonight here at the Kentucky Speedway. Led 88 laps last year, went on to victory, trying for another win here at Kentucky. Working the fifth caution now, we're back to green. Bobby Hamilton Jr. will lead the field. Into turn one. Oh, wide.
Like a rush hour traffic right there. You don't want to go in that corner 3 wide, you guys. Be careful there, Clint. You see, you got Clint Boyer get really loose there down the middle of 1 and 2.
He's getting his breath back right about now.
Boyer, the third position at RCR Chevy. He's got, oh! A little bit sideways off the corner.
Now this is an asphalt track, you guys. It's not dirt.
He's came from dirt track. And he's look up down the cushion. He's wheeling it, man.
Biffle powers through to take the lead. Second time tonight, the 60 car's been out front. Junior falls back to second. Martin Truex in third. Biffle's had a great run here at Kentucky. Finished second here twice in a Busch car and has a truck win on his racing resume.
I just seen J.J. Haley right in the middle of 3 and 4 get really high. Didn't hit the wall, but he definitely skated up the racetrack.
Looking back to Bobby Hamilton Jr.
Got up in that speedy drive. These tires are slick.
And that enabled Biffle to make the pass. And when you have 2 cars that are fairly equal, like the 25 of Hamilton and the 60 of Biffle, a pass like that's a big deal because it's not that easy catching somebody and passing them when you have 2 cars that are that same.
Especially after the 60 car just made all those adjustments.
Point leader Martin Truex Jr. runs in third. Glenn?
Yeah, Matt, we reported that vibration. When he came down pit road, he had reported also the car was tight, so they went 1 round up on the track bar, has loosened him up. The car looks to be a lot better right now. The vibration is gone. What it was, one lug nut on the left rear was slightly loose. Bono told me it would probably have gone the distance, but that's what was causing the vibration. Everything's okay now, no vibration. Let's go back to Jason Lefter a little bit, who we reported lost a few positions on pit road. Reason for that was they made some major adjustments on his car, 2 rounds adjustment on the track bar, and also air pressure adjustments in the left front, right front, and left rear tire. Let's go to Mark Garrow.
Kenny Wallace has moved up into the 11th position. The last time they made adjustments to that car, Kenny said it just killed it. The car was terribly tight. So this time, when they took on 4 tires, they also went up 3 rounds on the track bar to try to loosen that car up. And it looks like it's helped it because he is moving forward.
That's what you do with Chris Rice, the rookie crew chief this year. Wasn't here before at nighttime to know how much the track tightens up. They overcompensate for it.
These cars are so aerodynamically sensitive that you can't afford to have a tight race car. It will not go through the air. It won't cut through the corners, and you'll lose all your speed down the straightaways.
And it still amazes me when these guys can make all these chassis adjustments, wedge adjustments, track bar adjustments, pull spring rubbers, and still do it in 15 seconds. You know, the air pressure adjustments are definitely not done by a guy jumping over there and doing it. They do it all before the car comes in, but you're still, the tire guys are hustling when they look cars come down pit road.
Battle for fifth, the 20 car. Mike Bliss, the 5 of Busch, the 99 of Michael Waltrip. He did have some damage in those of the Dream Machine. There's the damage, left front corner.
It looked like him qualifying at Daytona there a couple years ago when he hit the Seagull.
Our Stacker 2 track fact, no driver finished in the lead lap of all 3 races here at Kentucky. A record crowd tonight, 72,312 people, standing room only here at the Kentucky Speedway. Mark?
Michael Waltrip hit some debris, and that's what caused the damage to that race car. And then to make matters worse, the NASCAR official, they say, did not give them the 1-to-go signal in their pit. So they stayed in there too long trying to correct the problem and went a lap down.
Now, as far as the official, everybody has scanners. You had the spotters on the roof with scanners. That was more than one person making a mistake.
Michael Waltrip won at Nashville back in April, but hasn't had a top 5 finish since.
Led the point standings very early.
You see the damage right here on Michael's car, on his fender. Now that right there is the left front fender. The most important part of the race car as far as making downforce and helping the car cut through the corner. You lose the downforce in your front end right there, it doesn't turn as well, and you'll definitely be off the pace.
Kyle Busch, back to 5th spot.
132 laps completed. You're just joining us here at the Kentucky Speedway. Greg Biffle out front, but Bobby Hamilton Jr. has led the most laps tonight, 107. Biffle's led 21. Back in 2002, he led 59 laps on a way to a 2nd place finish. And there's Busch, who entered the night 2nd in the championship standings, but had to start at the back of the field after crashing his primary car in the final practice session, forced to a backup. And Kenny Wallace, the 23 car, on pit road.
Going for the hood. That's not a good sign. They must have fixed that car. It was going so fast it blew up.
That's a shame after last weekend, almost having a shot to win Nashville when he had a pit problem. And now it looks like his night's over.
Battle for 2nd, Bobby Jr.
You know, Bobby's car just doesn't look as good as it did in the first part of the race. I don't know if it's the adjustment they made in the last pit stop, but it looks to me like it's too loose now for him to drive, and it's just not underneath him anymore.
Mark, what's wrong with Kenny Wallace's car?
Well, it sounds simple, but it is major. A broken valve, and that's a Stacker 2 Chevrolet, and that looks like that'll end Kenny's night early.
That's definitely more. Broken valve is definitely worse than having a broken finish pin.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Martin Truex battle for the 2nd position, but up front, it's Greg Biffle trying to score his 4th win of the 2004 season. We'll be back. Here at Kentucky, Bobby Jr. trying to score back-to-back wins here, 2003 and 2004. Motors passed at 27. He's running in the 3rd position. He's led 107 laps tonight. While he's running in 3rd, back up front, the 2002 Series champion, Greg Biffle's pulled out to about a 4-second lead over Martin Truex, and at 25 car looks very strong tonight. Let's catch up with Mark and his crew chief, Harold Holly.
Right now, Harold Holly shaking his head a little bit. Harold, what's wrong with the race cars?
Well, we made a slight air pressure adjustment, a half pound in left rear that time, and thing's gotten really loose, so it must be a loose set of tires. A little frustrating because it was perfect to run before. Just needed to free it up for the night a little bit, but we looked at everything, so We can't get too aggressive on the next stop so we don't lose it again. But I think we'll be okay. We just got to hang on to them right here. We'll get another. We got to pit one more time, so maybe we'll get another shot at them.
When will you pit?
Around, if it goes green, somewhere around 175.
And what he's saying, that they changed tires, they didn't change nothing but just a set of tires. And Goodyear does such a wonderful job with these tires. But then again,
Every now and then.
every now and again, you don't do nothing. You put 4 tires on it. I said yesterday, an analogy of eating an orange. You'll have an orange, you'll have half that orange will be wonderful. You'll eat one piece and that thing is rock hard and doesn't taste too good.
And you know, as a driver, it's hard to figure out because all of a sudden the car goes from being perfect to being loose or being tight, and it really is a set of tires, and it's one of those things that you can't figure out. And we call it off on the tires. It's a bad set of tires.
You heard Bobby Jr.'s creature Harold Holly talk about one more pit stop. That makes that final pit stop very crucial. You don't want to over-adjust, but then again, you don't want to under-adjust.
Absolutely right. And that's why those crew chiefs, I mean, as a driver, you just tell them what it's doing, and it's their call to either change it or not change it.
Battle for 6. Hornaday trying for his first win since Nazareth of 2003. Leffler trying for back-to-back wins. Scored his first last week in Nashville.
You know, that's a good angle right there. You get a good perspective of a couple different driving styles. You see Hornaday charging the corner a little bit harder. Then you see Leffler close up on him in the middle, and then Hornaday drive off in the center. So, you know, drivers do a little bit differently. Some of them drive in harder and go through the center. Got a car spinning off of 4. It's the 50 car.
Regan Smith, second spin tonight.
Thought it was going to be a slow sprint, but he went for the long slide.
They haven't thrown the caution yet, though. They're contemplating it, but
No caution yet. The 50 making his way to pit road.
it doesn't look like there will be a caution.
Still green on the racetrack. 148 laps in the books.
He's still smiling.
No, not no more.
He's not smiling
he
now.
got the lucky pass. He was smiling back, but oh boy, he's got a frown now.
Running back in the 33rd position, makes his way to pit road for a stop. While that's going on, Greg Biffle continues to yard the competition here at Kentucky. About a 4-second lead over Martin Truex, who scored his 5th pole, shattering the track record by nearly 4 miles per hour. He runs in second. Bobby Jr., who's led the most laps tonight, back in third. Boyer 5th, and second in points, Kyle Busch runs in the 5th position.
We see the 50 car gets down on the apron. Like we talked about, there's a lot of speedy dry down there from that earlier blowing motor. It's not as clean as the racing surface, and around he went.
And you know, Greg Biffle's right now just all pumped up. He's telling his guys, I'm not sure what you did on that pit stop, but this race car is just awesome. And him driving away from the field, I mean, this is just wonderful.
Still about a 4-second lead over second place Martin Truex. The top 4 in points entering tonight's race. Martin Truex, the point leader. Second, Kyle Busch 5th. Meanwhile, Bobby Hamilton Jr. having a great night. He entered tonight 4th, but he is having a great run. Meanwhile, Clint Boyer, the 21 car, his 7th start in 2004 of scheduled 14. Mark?
Clint Boyer doing an outstanding job tonight, Matt. They came here and tested with 2 cars. He wrecked one, but fortunately for the Richard Childress team and the Reese Chevrolet team, they didn't wreck the one that was the quickest and the best on long runs. Despite how well they ran yesterday and how well they qualified, Ricky Byers, his crew chief this morning, made 12 changes to the car. 7 of those changes they did not try either in practice or in the test session. They went back to their book that they had at California and Vegas, of course, where Kevin Harvick won in this very same race car, and they did that to get the best guesstimate, and they made the right changes, and Clint Boyer is certainly not driving like a rookie tonight. Outstanding effort, starting 11th, currently riding in that 4th position.
And it goes back to that good race car. No matter what track you bring it to, that race car is going to run.
You see the 38 car of Casey Kane, rookie sensation in the Cup Series, Casey Kane. Now he's down a lap right now in that earlier incident with the 12 car, but he's running pretty good still.
And back up front, continues to be Greg Biffle, edging out his lead to about 4.5 seconds over Martin Truex Jr., Bobby Hamilton Jr. third, Boyer, and the 5 of Busch, fourth and fifth. Green is in the air. Biffle goes the outsider on the 55 of Robbie Gordon. The 00 Jason Leffler, 3-4 wide into turn one.
When it's your night, and I think tonight is going to be Greg Biffle's. You know, he gets caught speeding down pit road, and then through a sequence of cautions, he's back in the lead.
And this is the battle for the lead. The 60 car, Greg Biffle, is being posted. The battle for the lead between the 00 of Leffler, the 5 of Busch. The 60 of Biffle was in the wrong position. Now we're hearing they're waving it off.
You see how loose Kyle Busch was there? Right behind the 00 car. There's Kyle right there in the 5. Extremely loose on low air pressure. These guys know right now that this is the end of the race. Can't give anybody any slack.
NASCAR's waved off the black flag for Biffle. So now you're looking at the battle for second. 60 is good. He is the leader as Leffler and Busch, just like last week at Nashville, running side by side. 11 laps to go here at Kentucky. Will it be Greg Biffle scoring a Busch Series trophy to match his truck win here? Or will it be Leffler and Busch? Just like last week in Nashville, they're side by side. The 2-car Ron Hornaday having a great run as well. He's in the 4th position.
We've seen these guys racing very hard before. It'll be interesting to see now with the 5-car going to try to pass them.
See the 5-car bottoming out right there going into the turn. That's still because the air pressure's a little low.
Let's check in with Mark Garrow, who's in the 21 pit.
I'm with Ricky Byers, the crew chief for Clint Boyer. Why did NASCAR penalize you, and you obviously didn't agree with it?
Oh, no. They penalized us for not slowing down for the caution. He's the leader of the race, and we're coming back to the caution. And I guess in their mind, we didn't slow down soon enough or slow enough and put us the tail into the longest line. That's the way it is.
Ricky Byers, Clint Boyer's crew chief. Boyer currently runs in the 10th position, 1 spot behind Martin Truex. And the 46 car of Ashton Lewis and the 22 of Jason Keller, both having great runs tonight.
Yes, they did a wonderful call right there by staying out. Just went from a 15th place car where they were running and gained about 5 positions.
Jason Leffler just fell back to 5th. Mike Bliss took over the 4th position from Leffler. Back up front, it's Biffle. 8 laps to go here at Kentucky. 3 wins this season, the 60 team. Brad Parrott calling the shots down on pit road. Biffle behind the wheel, trying for his 4th win this season. As Jason Keller battles on the inside, trying to take over that 6th position from Jason. There you go, battling side by side, the 32 and 22.
You know, we haven't talked about Jason Keller too much tonight, Matt, and he's really had a good run. He's been in the top 10 all night long. There we see him battling for 7th place with David Stremme, and
that is one of the coolest looking race cars. It reminds you of the old Bobby Allison race car.
While that battle goes on, Biffle's pulled out to about a 2.5 lead over Kyle Busch.
But you know what? Watch Robbie Gordon. Boy, he's pulling right up on the tail of Greg Biffle, and if he can get a chance to pass him, he will.
Truex, the point leader, coming into tonight's race on the inside, also in that battle. Keller in 6th, Truex in 7th, Stremme in 8th.
Robbie Gordon fills up Biffle's mirror. It ain't far before that 5 car is right on him.
The top 2 drivers in tonight's point standings in the top 7. Busch trying to close that lead. 40 points he was back coming into tonight's race. Meanwhile, out front, it's still Greg Biffle, but his lead is closing as Kyle Busch is still trying to reel in that 60 car. 5 laps to go here at Kentucky.
55 car, Robbie Gordon is 1 lap down. He's the first car 1 lap down in 12th place.
And there's the 5 in your picture, Kyle Busch. 4 laps to go. Trying to score a win here at Kentucky, closing that gap more and more now, down to a ½ second. Mark?
I just talked to his crew chief, Lance McGrew. I said, can you catch him? Do you have enough time? And he looked at me and he pointed his finger at me and he said, we are about to win this race.
Got to like that confidence. You saw Robbie pull over right there. That was the right thing to do. The 55 car pulled over. He knew these 2 guys are fighting for the lead. 4 laps to go. He doesn't need to be in their way.
3 to go here at Kentucky. Kyle Busch is pulled up on the bumper of Greg Biffle. He dives to the inside, side by side, battling for the lead.
What a comeback for that race team.
No kidding. I mean, 5 car hasn't led yet tonight. First time he made a lap in this car this weekend was when this race started.
Wrecked his primary car in the final practice session, started the backup. No laps on this race car this weekend here at Kentucky, and he takes the lead. 2 laps to go here at Kentucky, and Busch Motors out front. What a way to bounce back. A tough week last week. Ran out of gas with 4 laps to go while leading. Wrecked his primary car in final practice. Now less than 2 laps away from scoring a Kentucky victory.
You know, that's got to be, we talked about at the start of the show, you got to have the mental attitude correct. And, you know, he wrecks his car. You're not sure about his confidence. He gets in the backup car, drives from the back to the front. Unbelievable.
Takes the lead with 3 to go. No problems. He's going to win this race with a car that has a lot of history.
White flag is in the air. Kyle Busch out of turn 2. 2 more corners to go to score a Kentucky win on the last lap. Had 10 straight top 10s going into Nashville. Lost that race with 4 to go. And Kyle Busch, checkers are in the air. It's a Busch win at Kentucky. 3rd win this season.
You got to give that race team 2 thumbs up for what they did, the effort they give. Take their backup car out that obviously is a very good race car. Come back here, start last, and win this thing.
Never lost confidence, showing a lot of maturity. Kyle Busch starts in the back. Scores his 3rd win this season. Mark?
I'm with the winning crew chief, Lance McGrew. You told me with 3 or 4 laps to go, we're going to win this thing, and you did. So you did it in a backup car without a lap on the racetrack.
I tell you, boy, this team dug all day. Kyle dug all day. The car was loose, real bad loose, the first thing this morning. But I tell you what, it's great to get a win for Lowe's and Gladiator and Hendrick Motorsports. Kyle has just been awesome. Like he made a mistake yesterday, and look what happened. So I tell you, I was real worried because I think NASCAR really hosed up on that call with Biffle. I don't think he should have been up there to start with, but he managed to pull it off and win it the old-fashioned way. We just outran him.
Get out there and celebrate with your driver.
Thanks, buddy.
The ceremonial burnout.
And Busch scores the win. Came in tonight's 2nd in championship standings. The point leader coming in was the 8 of Mark Truex. He finished 6th. Busch will close that lead, unofficially down to 10 points.
And with a smile that can be seen all over the Bluegrass State, Kyle Busch crawls out of that car. There's going to be a Gatorade bath here. There it comes, yeah. The backward dive into the crew. As soon as they let that young man down, we go back here and talk to him. Come here, Kyle Busch. Congratulations, man. I've seen a lot of things in my time, but that was truly awesome. Tell us about the last 12 laps there on that last restart.
I don't know. They said that we were kind of the leader, not really, but Biffle, they just said we were going to win it, and we'd fix it in the truck, but I never gave up. I knew we could catch that 60. We were an awfully good car, but, you know, we didn't really show it until all them guys got a lap down, but nonetheless, these guys are awesome behind me. They put together a car that just rolled out of the trailer for victory lane. I said we'd come from the back up to the front. Happy Father's Day to my dad. This one's for him, and, of course, all the rest of the dads out there as well, too, and I don't know what else to say. Lance McGrew's awesome.
Well, I think that they think this kid's pretty awesome, too. That is one terrific job. Congratulations again.
Gentlemen,